Hey everybody, and welcome to a raunchy ass wild ride with Steve-O. This week we have the director of Jackass, Jeff Tremaine, and oh boy, throughout this conversation it just gets more and more crazy, and by the end of it, it's the most explicit podcast conversation we've ever recorded. Man, what a treat. And I'm telling you, if this doesn't make you hard as a rock, I know what will, baby. It's called Blue Chew tablets, and I use them all the time, man. I absolutely love them. They are delicious, chewable tablets with the same active ingredient as both Viagra and Cialis. And for you to get them, you don't have to have an awkward visit to the doctor's office in person. No, you go to bluechew.com, you consult with one of their medical providers. It's quick and easy. And then once you're ready, boom, they send these tablets right to your house. And guess what? I can get you an entire month's supply absolutely for free. All you got to pay is $5 for shipping. That's right. If you go to bluechew.com and use the promo code Steve-O, you're going to get an entire month's supply of these awesome boner tablets, and I'm telling you, you're gonna have the best time. Just use the promo code Steve-O, a whole month's supply absolutely for free. Just pay $5 for shipping. Now let's get into this raunchy conversation. Yeah,
let's do it.
I couldn't be more fucking excited about this. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Tremaine. Yeah,
dude.
Fuck yeah, of course, you know Scott Randolph.
Yes, of course.
We're without Paul Brisky.
Where's Paul?
Tested positive for COVID.
Oh, shit, man.
What a pussy.
He's like, I feel fine. So I'm walking out of here.
Yeah.
Coughing tomorrow?
No. Like
we're both negative.
Yeah. I've not tested positive for the virus once.
Yeah, man, I swear, I think I had it before it got like in December. I got all this, except for I never lost my son. I have no idea, but I got really sick as I've been in December before the shit came out.
My one positive test was for antibodies.
Yeah, I never did that. I should have done that just to find out, but I don't think even it was available. How many times do you guys test each other for Jackass 4 every day?
Jackass 4 every fucking day.
Every day. And then I was doing 3 times a week during post and all that, so it's...
And
that's got to add to the budget of Jackass 4. It's incredible.
Yeah, how much was it?
I don't know the final number, but it's over $1 million, I think, like, which is a lot to us. And no, just the whole thing. Like, God, I know a guy who does like security. He runs a security company with the studios and stuff, and he pivoted during this, and they just print money.
Yeah,
I mean, they just fucking.
You mean a security
company that did, like keeps a set secure, and then this fucking pandemic hit, and the studios need to now do so much testing, and he was all set up. He just had to do some classes and pivot over to COVID safety. I'm sorry, not explaining myself.
COVID is a moneymaker, man. Huh?
An ex-girlfriend of mine got her medical something, and she's able to sell PPEs, and she was just flipping containers out at sea for like $40,000 a pop. Yeah, it's just crazy. Like, okay, cool, yeah, have a buyer. Great, we'll get you.
So the first question that I've got to ask is, like, how the fuck is this movie coming out?
I don't know. It's nerve-wracking to see.
I mean, it's crazy because you've got the polar extremes of like craziest COVID ever and biggest box office revenue ever happening simultaneously.
I know, and that doesn't help the case to push it because and you're also hearing that this one's not as bad. Like it's just they've shortened. Most big people have shortened the window. If you test positive, it's 5 days now. CDC has done it. Like NFL's doing it. And then if you test negative twice, you're back in. Like,
you got to test negative twice, huh?
I think for the NFL, I think that's what it is. Okay. I don't know, but the CDC doesn't tell you. There's a quarantine is shrunk.
But that weekend that Spider-Man did domestic opening of $253 million was a different week than
what we're getting into. I know.
Yeah,
it's nerve-wracking. I don't know. We got to. Each day is fucking.
Yeah, and hey man, like I'm gonna do everything in my power to promote this movie, and it's not going to hurt my feelings if I promote it, in the spring.
No, we all have vested reasons to want this thing to do well.
Exactly.
But yeah, like
it's worth. Like. What do you think about this? I've said candidly that my feeling is that the best Jackass movie was number 2, just because we were in our heyday. We were so reckless. Everything was working. We got away with everything. And Jackass 3D was way more commercially successful. But I think without the phantom camera, the super slow motion, the 3D, without all of that, I don't know if it...
I see. I think you're on the super radical, you just like the ready to die shit, right?
Yeah.
Jackass 2 is ready to die. Everyone is ready to die, willing to die. It's the gnarliest one.
Right.
I love 3D. I think 3D, what they all have, including what we just shot, is the spirit of this camaraderie and the love of this group. And it's got plenty of gnarly in it, but it's really about this.
I know you've said that to me before, that each one just is its own different thing.
And then you don't know that until after, right? You just we're not aiming for anything as we're making them. We're just putting the best shit in, and
maybe my feeling about Jackass 3D is just that because I was newly sober, I was just uncomfortable in my skin. I hadn't found my voice. I was just this sort of frayed emotional nerve.
Right.
And then on this one, that's not the case.
That was incredible. You were able to do 3D. That's a...
But I remember I came in for a screening of Jackass Forever, when it was in its infancy. And I walked out of there thinking, man, not even the crazy stunts. Of course that's all in there. But just the way that I just felt comfortable. And just throwing out lines,
And you look at
I'm so happy with it. I think this movie's so damn good.
Thank you. I did too.
It's fucking...
I did too. And it was against all odds. The fact that we pulled this one off,
it's unbelievably good. So, dude, let me... I think the funniest story and the hardest that we've ever laughed on this podcast was with Dave England telling the story about putting poop on your hotel door handle.
All because you peed on his teddy bear.
No, I peed. The piss was after. No, I came home and there was I fucking grabbed the door handle.
What city was that in?
It was France, I think. Paris.
In Paris, and you're getting ready to go to Amsterdam.
Yeah, and we're shooting. We're shooting Jackass, the TV show.
Yep.
And I go to my room and fucking grab the handle and
you got shit all over.
I got shit on my hand. And so now I've got to fucking figure out who did it. It didn't take long to figure it out.
Because you were with Gooch?
No, I went and found Gooch right away. And
Because Gooch was
actually staying with Dave, but Gooch didn't sell him out. Gooch was
right.
I just figured it out quickly, and Gooch let me in the room. I had access, so. And I tried to shit in his luggage so bad. I sat over Gooch. Ask Gooch. I sat over his fucking luggage. Gooch was right there in the room, and I squatted and just tried to force one out, and I couldn't. So I just peed all over everything he had.
Yeah, he was particularly upset because he had bought a stuffed animal for his.
Fuck him.
But then, okay.
By the way, I took this shit out and then put it back in so he wouldn't notice. So,
okay.
He would have been safe giving that to his kid. The pee sinks down; it doesn't go up. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, dude. You're talking to the wrong.
But then he went home. He got so chapped. He was
it wasn't just that he went home. He called the airline.
Oh, he canceled all our flights and shit.
He called the airlines, canceled all your flights, canceled all your hotels.
I can't believe he was able to do that. How?
I know.
How on top of it are you to be able to do? I never would think to do that. Even if I was so mad, I couldn't do it. I would need help doing that, even if I came up with the idea.
It's so funny, man. When I was a little kid, and I called every hotel in the Yellow Pages to meet Motley Crue, and I got my photo taken with Nikki Sixx and Tommy Lee. And then after that, because I was 13, for the rest of my life, my dad always said, if you could just apply yourself, if you could just apply the tenacity, if you could show the motivation that you showed to meet Motley Crue, then you could do anything. And here with Dave, if you could,
right, incredible.
Dave, you'd be the king of the world.
The tenacity and the absolute motivated assholeness, to do that was
drunk.
Incredible.
Right.
Yeah,
yeah, and where's his motivation?
But think about that, how devolved we got after that. Like, so peeing in luggage back then was the biggest, the biggest violation you could do to somebody. Like, fast forward just a year and a half, and we all know what each other's piss tastes like. You know what I mean? We all know. Like, it's gotten so bad. Like, like that's just where we were at the TV show. Then, and you know, that's probably why you like 2 the most, because 2 was probably the peak of just the most rotten behavior possible that was making us laugh at the time. It took so much more. Like, everything in Jackass 1 wouldn't make Jackass 2, or a little bit of it would, but you know, like, for our gnarly standard or our gross out or our, you know, what makes us laugh to what we do to each other after the shooting goes down, you know.
I love the way you put that, ready to die, the ready to die bits. And we have those in the new one.
Yeah, for sure. Like, everyone stepped up. Like,
well, if anything, like, because I know already, I'm going to get asked a million times, what's it like shooting a Jackass movie now that you're so much older? And very clearly, the difference is that our bones break way easier, and it requires much less to knock us completely unconscious, and it takes us longer to wake up when we are completely unconscious. Outside of that, there's not that much difference.
Right. So
it's good for the viewer.
Yeah, and the spirit is like so fucking alive. Like, it's so much just you can feel it. The minute we just, you know, we went in for that test shoot, it was just like, oh, why are we so nervous about this? Let's just fucking go.
I went and saw it, and I feel like this one.
Well, you came with me to a screening.
Yeah, I came with you to a screening. I feel like this one, people were emotionally breaking in certain bits.
Well, they've always done that to a bit.
But I feel like 1, 2, 3, like, it was like, fuck. This one, they were like, I've had it.
Yeah.
I do. This one made me laugh harder than any of them.
Yeah. Like, my favorite thing in it is the Silence of the Lambs bit, where, because it's so psychological, and it's so, and we paired everybody up to be the right pair. You know, it was like Dave and Aaron, who are just always paired together. But to me, that just they're like an old married couple, and when they're in their most terrified, like pure terror, they're bickering with each other about, like, Dave's like, you need to answer me when I call you. What the fuck? You need to answer me, because Aaron goes full silent. He's catatonically silent for a bit, and then Aaron breaks into the bad room, and he's like, Dave, I found a way out, and Dave's of course like, yeah, of course you found a way out, Aaron.
But that one, there's nothing's out there about that bit, so we'll just keep a lid on that one. Right. Oh my God, it's so great.
We tortured the guys, and then, like, we couldn't go out in public much, so we doubled down on the torture of, like, just constantly, you know, Jackass is always some, like, even I get PTSD after one of these things, and I was curiously comfortable on, you know, the whole looking over your shoulder. We sort of figured out, like, well, it's fuck, man. If they get me, I'm in the movie. And if they don't, if I bust it, then I just don't get in the movie.
The only thing is that you know that if your call time to arrive on set is in the afternoon, that...
No, you figure that
out. So when people ask me, how did Jackass start? Oh, man, do I love this story. Wendy, up. Wendy, it's bedtime. Bedtime. Yeah. That's the one command that Wendy really knows. It's bedtime. Because I love snuggling with her in bed. And I love it so much more when that bed is from helixsleep.com. Telling you, this is my favorite. I've been sleeping on my Helix mattress for, 2 years almost? I will never sleep on another mattress. That's all there is to it. You know why it's so great? It's because when you go to helixsleep.com, you take this 2-minute quiz, which just gets your perfect mattress dialed in for exactly what your needs are. And they just get you the best thing you can sleep on. And if you go to helixsleep.com/Stevo, you get up to $200 off any mattress of your choosing. Plus, they throw in 2 free pillows. And I'm telling you, the Helix free pillows are the greatest, man. They've got this down alternative, which is not cruel. My favorite pillows in the whole wide world. So get yourself a new mattress, man. Sleep better. Feel better. Go to helixsleep.com/Stevo and get that deal. Now, let's tell this story that I love. I've got this distilled, like I say, it started, we were making skateboarding videos.
Yeah.
And they just had all this crazy stuff in it, these skateboarding videos. And then they became very popular. And the guy in charge of making these skateboarding videos reached out to his friend Spike Jones, and he said, hey, you know, our videos are getting so popular, but like, it's not the skateboarding that people are freaking out over. It's all this other crazy stuff. Right. And I think if we subtract the skateboarding, then what's left over could be a TV show. And when you took out the skateboarding from the Big Brother videos, what you were left with was Knoxville, Wee Man, Pontius, and Bam was doing something similar. So it was like, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a skate video without a whole lot of skating. Like, well, Big Brother, you know, to be clear, we were our whole, like,
right.
It was about personalities.
It was a very thin veil.
It was about personalities, the big personalities in skateboarding, more so than the great skateboarding that's happening. You know what I mean? Like, it was much more about finding the characters. And
so I know that it's so funny how when Jackass started, like, there was still like, I mean, dude, Dick House is the production company responsible for every iteration of Jackass. And when we started filming the TV show, like, how clueless like to all levels of production, like release forms, like, you know,
we knew about release forms. I mean, I'll say we knew about release forms. We weren't very concerned about premise releases.
Right.
We weren't. I knew we didn't have a sound guy.
There was no sound guy.
There was no sound guy in the first 2 seasons. In all the TV shows, we never had a sound guy. Like, it was me taping a microphone or Trip or Gooch.
If we even did that,
we put mics on a lot of times
for pranks and
and whatever, for sending somebody down the hill. Like, when you stilt box, you had a fucking mic on you.
Okay, I don't even remember that.
We hurt you guys a lot of times because we didn't know where to put the fucking little metal box, and when you fall on it, it sucks. Like,
I know about that.
And the sound was terrible. I didn't know that you could color correct.
Right.
So we were using, you know, a couple of, I wouldn't call them professional cameras. It was the PD-150 was our go-to camera, which was a professional grade DVR cam. Like, it was somewhere in between a skate camera. It was better than the VX-1000, which was what all the skaters used, but it was the same camera, just it allowed it for a better mic, or more, slightly more professional. And then handheld straight out of the fucking Best Buy, you know what I mean?
I remember, so when I got so lucky that I was fired from, like, every job I had before Jackass, because when the pilot was going on for Jackass, like, I if I hadn't been fired, I would have missed out on it because I was on a cruise ship working as a clown.
Is that when we shot the? Yeah.
Yeah, but I got fired from my cruise ship job, and I walked off, and I had saved like $9,000 over my 6 months.
Did you get fired, or you just didn't?
The other clowns said to the brass of the cruise ship company, they said, if Steve-O comes back for another contract, we all quit.
You got pushed out
by
a bunch of jealous clowns.
It was a clown mutiny. So and I wasn't supposed to know this. And my boss clown, he said, hey, man, I'm going to tell you something, and if it gets out that I told you, I'm going to lose my job, but I'm just not going to sit here and let these clowns do you like this. I'm telling you up front, like, you're not coming back for another contract. They all went behind your back and made this happen, so it's time for you to start calling up your skateboard buddies and try to get something and going with them.
Wow.
And so I knew ahead of time, and my first call was to you. I said, Jeff, I'm working on cruise ships as a clown. I'm always walking around on stilts, and it's like the biggest fear. I'm terrified while I'm walking on stilts that I might fall over, and so I got to do it. I got to do it. And I'm thinking that if I'm on stilts and I've got a big stilt costume, and we set it on fire, then I can have a unicycle. I did this whole thing, and I bought all the fucking equipment, the still costumes made, all this.
All the equipment. None of the fireproof equipment that you would want to use in a situation like that. Like, this is back to you had the stilts and the long enough clown costume to go over the stilts.
Right. I bought 3 sets of stilt clothes, like 10-foot tall clothing costumes, and we set them all on fire. I got the stilts. I bought my airplane tickets. Like, I fucking spent all the money I'd saved to go out to try to be in Big Brother magazine. and I didn't even know. And so I get out there, and you're like, okay, now I'll tell you. This is for a pilot for MTV.
Right. It was just me, Ballard, and
Knoxville was there.
Knoxville was there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was like
fucking Amazon.
They're loud ass.
That's a fucking crazy reverse.
What's their deal?
Does it always sound like that?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a new thing, I think.
This guy sees that you want to record.
It's all good, man. I gotta reel myself in and let you fucking tell stories.
What's that?
I have this thing where like I fucking bring guests on so I can tell them a story.
We have a long storied past.
Yeah. Let me not. I'm gonna let that Amazon truck be my reminder to reel myself in. But okay, so it was balanced. So there, you know,
it's
like I had a reason why I wanted to, you know, and I'll pass it over to you. Once.
What is that thing?
It's the battery for a
Whoop
Whoop
strap.
A what?
A Whoop strap.
It's the most sophisticated fitness tracking device known to man.
Are they going to be a sponsor on this week?
Man,
You might as well just drop it right now.
It's just pure
That's
data that's coming in. Goes to your phone.
It goes to your phone, and that's just a battery charger.
So there's
it's
no.
waterproof.
It's just pure
Right.
business there.
It'll be like, oh, we noticed you were meditating. Do you mind if we add that to your list? And you're like, how the fuck do you know
Well,
that?
it doesn't know about meditating, but if I get on a bicycle, it automatically knows I'm riding a bicycle.
Wow.
Okay, so it was just Ballard. Just say there, it was just Ballard.
Well,
there.
I don't remember. Was just Ballard? Did Rick go? I think maybe we had Rick. I don't
Maybe
remember.
Rick.
I don't remember too much about it. I remember you went down to Danny Way's.
Yeah. And that was the first day I ever met Knoxville. This happened on December 30th of 1999.
So we.
You guys didn't know what Jackass was either. It was,
Right. We didn't even. I don't think, have the pilot deal done. I think this is pre-pilot. To be honest, we were just gathering shit. Like you were in town, you wanted to do some shit, so we went and fucking shot it. And
Knoxville sat me down on a hay bale and interviewed me. Like,
right. We didn't. Yeah, we didn't.
Where?
We never. We didn't know what Jackass was. Well, into filming Jackass, we still didn't know.
Right.
How is it gonna doing the pilot? We knew. It doesn't require a host.
Right.
Yeah, because we were at first like, all right, we had these Big Brother videos that people loved, and then we got the TV show based on just cutting together the funniest bits from those, some of Bam's shit,
Right.
and a couple other things off of like whiskey. I don't remember where. I just sourced a bunch of fucking crazy shit, but it all looked like Jackass. Like, and so we get the pilot deal, like we sell it to MTV. And we don't know what it is still. We're like, we showed this sizzle tape that they loved.
Right.
And then now we got the deal. Now we're going to make a pilot. All right, do we put Knoxville behind a desk? And, we're thinking, we start thinking TV. Like, it should be a TV show, though.
Uh-huh.
And what we showed isn't a TV show. That's just a skate video. Right. And then, so we start talking about this and that, and Spike just shut us out. He's like, no, it just that's what it is.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know what it is.
It's great.
And so, he helped us, gain confidence of stop thinking like it's a TV show.
Uh-huh.
It's just we sold it. This is what it is.
Spike's got this annoying habit of being right. I'm not going to say that Spike's right 100% of the time, but I strongly believe that when you, Knoxville, and Spike reach a consensus decision on anything, that it's bulletproof.
Yeah, we do have three different
Yeah.
ways of looking at it, like things.
And even on the opening, in retrospect, on the opening sequence of Jackass Forever, fuck, he was right.
I have proof he was right.
Right.
And I was adamantly.
I know, I was on your side.
Hunkered into my position on it, and I was absolutely wrong. So I don't even pretend to know. Like, my taste leans a little more radical towards your taste.
Right.
And
you're a bad guy.
It takes a lot to get me
right.
excited or grossed out or but I've learned along the way that no, show it to people,
for sure,
watch them watch it and base a lot of it on go past my fucking 2 cents because I've got bad judgment.
Me too. I'm not representative of my demographic.
Right.
I'm not my audience.
I use a lot of bad judgment and I need people around me that have better judgment.
For sure. So you went to the same university as my sister, Washington University in St. Louis.
That's right.
And what were you doing there? Communications?
No, art school.
Art school.
Yeah, I was a painter. So that's the only way I got into school. Was I was a C student, straight C's in high school. Didn't care about high school. And WashU was pretty hard to get into school, but the art school is your way around the academics. I had a really good art portfolio going into college.
Okay.
And what were you at Big Brother? You were doing
I was doing that. I was the boss there, I was the art director.
Were you editor-in-chief in the beginning? That was Rocco, and then you took over.
It was pretty much, when I got hired, I was the boss to make sure we make a magazine. So I would hire the writers, and it turned out that Cliver and McKee wrote a lot of the shit, but I'd farm out, because I'd been working in publishing. I'd done a BMX magazine. I was the art director for a BMX magazine.
And that was where you linked up with Spike?
I knew Spike since he's 12.
From Maryland.
From Maryland, yeah. And
since he was 12.
Since he was 12, he got a job at the bike shop that I used to work. I didn't work at that I used to ride for, and so we grew up together. And I
So wait, you used to ride for a bike shop? You were
kind of, yeah. I was shop sponsored ish,
Wow.
It was just
like mountain biking.
I got to no BMX. I was a dirt jumper and a ramp rider. Sure. I was a vert rider. So in the early, this is 82, 83. I don't know. It was old, 81. I don't remember.
Wow.
Way back in the day.
Okay, so I heard a story about Spike's so crazy. You're driving down the highway, and he just he's driving, and then he dives into the back seat.
Oh my God!
And you gotta save the car.
So this is when we were doing the bike. So Spike got me the job at Freestyling Magazine. I was just graduating. I would come out and visit him on spring break when I was in college, the last two at least, and saw what they It was just three dudes making this fucking great magazine that I grew up looking at, and I'm like, fuck, that's what I want to do. So my senior year, I just made the design professor. She helped me put a magazine portfolio that showed I could lay out a magazine, even though that I wasn't a graphic design student. I just shifted thinking I want to do this. So I took it on myself and didn't even get grades on that shit. I was just single working with my design professor, and it paid off because right as I was graduating, they needed a new art director. But that's not the story. Anyway, so then I get hired, and we're having a great time making this fucking bike magazine. And we were going down to do a photo spread with Matt Hoffman, and we're going from Torrance to San Diego.
Okay.
Matt was going to be in. I can't remember what the ramp was, but we were going to meet at a ramp, and we had
the big air shit.
It was before that, way before that. And so we had so we were in a Chevy Astrovan. This was a company Astrovan. It said freestyling down the side. And we had this couple of bike boxes, which are big, shoved between the console. So there was the two captain's seats, and then it was a cargo van. And it was a cargo van that had, not a cargo van, it just had seats, but the bike box was jammed right up between the two front seats. And Spike put the thing in cruise control, and we're shooting down the 405, heading towards the 5. He's going 80. There's no traffic, but we're flying down the freeway, and he's got it in cruise control. And he's like, hey, can you hold the wheel for 1 second? And so I hold the wheel, and he flips his seat back and back rolls out and runs to the back of the van and won't come back. And so I'm steering this thing, and I can't, there's a fucking bike box that's wedged in right here that I can't just slide over and get into that seat without, I have to kind of ghost ride. I had to climb over and get through that. Now, I'm not the most flexible, limber person to fucking do that. But yeah, he never came back. He sat back there and just was ready to die.
Jesus.
That's crazy, man.
Fuck, he also this is way later. This is when did we do it? It was right before Jackass 3. It was when we did the 24-hour takeover of MTV.
Okay.
We decided we're going to film this tribute to Evel Knievel. Matt Hoffman was putting together this tribute to Evel Knievel, and we were trying to. So Spike and Knoxville and I go to Oklahoma, and Knoxville had rented a big Crown Vic, and Spike flew in late. So he gets there, and we're on our way to the location. Oh no, this is leaving location that day where we would filmed a bunch of crazy stunts. Spike says, "Let me drive that." He loves Crown Vics, So Knoxville gives him the keys. I'm riding in the back seat, Knoxville shotgun, Spike's driving, rent a car, Crown Vic. And we're about to get onto the freeway, and he looks, and it's like a big looping ramp to get onto the freeway. And there's a big mound, almost like a skate bowl of dirt, grass around that ramp. So we start going in, and then he just floors it and rolls into the bowl off the ramp and into the grass and starts like we're getting G'd out, like just carving a bowl in this Crown Vic. Going, it's not 80, 70, I don't know how fast. It's fucking fast. And as we're cruising around, all of a sudden, like you just hit something. I don't know if it was a dip or a rock. I don't know what. But then we skidded down and got onto the freeway. And we're cruising on the freeway, and we're just watching the temperature gauge just start to fly up. And Spike's like, look at that. And I'm like, oh, man, that's going fast. It's like you can see it move. So we're like, oh, that's not good. And then the red lights start going, and then the car starts like dying and dying. We're just driving it until we're not even trying to like pull over. We're just trying to get to where we need to go. And then the car seized. And so then we just left it on the side of the road. And we passed it every day for the next 3 days because none of us were going to call it in. So we flew home, and then Shauna had to figure it all out.
That's one of many vehicles.
Yes. And that was all Spike.
Right. So, dude, we traveled the world together, man. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, dude, put it there. We've been
Wild Boys.
Dude, sometimes
it's my dream job. Like honestly, like that was me just piling on. Like Jackass was a huge success. We just made the first movie.
Yep.
And luckily MTV was still shocked that we wouldn't do the Jackass TV show anymore. And so I said, well, what I will do is I want to do a nature show. And you guys need a nature show.
Right.
But we'll make it like a Jackass nature show. So it'll be kind of like Jackass, but a nature show, which I don't know why. I mean, that's just because that's all I watched. Like, that's all I wanted to do was a nature show. Yeah. Like Steve Irwin and all that shit. But
I got really lucky because that was really you and Pontius.
Yeah.
And you guys kind of let me in on your
yeah, well, we went. It was so funny because like I would just watch Animal Planet or Discovery Channel, and one day Chris was over, and we were watching, and we saw this. I can't remember. Yeah, we watched Manny like jumping on shark. Like he and Rackley are riding in a little fucking boat, and they're jumping out of the boat onto the back of sharks and pulling the sharks out of the water. And these are legit sharks, like bull sharks, lemon sharks, and Manny's doing it in a Speedo. And we're like, fuck, look at that. Like, we got to find these guys. So we tried to find him when you went with the nurse shark dive.
Oh, okay.
We were looking for that dude. Like, I already knew about Manny. I didn't know how to find him, but we had Gooch and everybody trying to find this dude. And finally we tracked him down, and it was when you did the worm trick. It was the next season of Jackass. We were back in Florida.
For sure. I remember the first day of the unicycle off the airboat with the gator right there, the worm up in their nose. And, dude, it was the first time we ever met Manny.
Yeah.
We're at this Everglades park. And we're in the parking lot just with all, getting the gear out, whatever. Knoxville's standing there. Manny's standing there. We see this family walking in our direction, and all of a sudden their faces light up, and Knoxville is like, okay, here we go. This is early on too, so Knoxville's still stoked about getting recognized, and he's like, yeah. And then they walk right fucking past Knoxville to Manny, and they're like, Manny.
So rad. And then and
Knoxville asks him, I want to get bit by a rattlesnake, and Manny says, no. Yeah. And that was when I went on to learn, if Manny says, like, something's not okay, it's not fucking okay. No. And if Manny says something is okay, that doesn't really mean
that just means he'd be there willing to be there, like.
And that got us around, like, having to be under the supervision of professionals. Like, Manny was our professional.
Right.
He was just the key that unlocked anything we wanted to do on Wild Boys.
God damn, like, I'll tell you, like, so we went and we were shooting Jackass, the first Jackass movie, and we were in Florida, and we had Manny, and Manny's like, Jeff, you need to swim in the Black Swamp. I'm like, all right, well, we'll do it. Like, we're not doing. No, that was that night. This was this Saturday. Okay. It was me and Chris went and swam with. That was really.
I remember the TV show days though. That was like the
TV show. It was before. It was Black Swamp at Night was after Jackass 1, before Wild Boys.
Okay.
But this is during Jackass 1. We went on our day off. Me and Chris went and swam the swamp with Manny.
Yeah, Jeff Tremaine isn't just the Jackass director. The dude's an absolute maniac. Wait till you hear about this day off. You know what I like to do on my day off is really treat myself, man. And I am happy to tell you that this little spot comes from a brand new company which makes my mornings so wonderful. It's called Just Egg. This is a totally healthy, cholesterol-free, plant-based egg product. They're coming through with the fluffiest omelets that you're gonna eat all year, man. The best scrambled eggs, the most delicious quiches, and hey, full disclosure, I eat eggs, right? I mean, I used to be totally vegan. Now I eat eggs. But, dude, since I tried Just Eggs, I like them way better, man. I'm telling you, my girl cooks them up, and we have these great breakfasts. You just got to look out for this company, Just Egg. They've actually got this ingredient that lowers your cholesterol. These polyunsaturated fats. I'm not even sure. All I know is that chicken eggs wish they were this healthy. I want to say thank you to Just Egg for these wonderful breakfasts that I have been enjoying on my days off. Now, let's hear about Jeff Tremaine's day off.
And man, he's just swimming down and bringing the fucking
Lifting
alligators
out
right
the
to
swamp.
us and like just letting go 10-foot alligators right in front of us, and they're mad and they swim away. And it was scary as shit, but we filmed it and it was fucking...
Dude, that's fucking epic that's your day off. Like when it is your day off and then you choose to go play with alligators in the swamp.
Yeah. And so then I go back to Florida after Jackass, the first movie, and I call Manny. He's like, Jeff, I want to go to the Black Swamp at night. I'm like, oh, fuck. Well, what happens at night? Well, the alligators hunt at night, but let's just go do this, go do the same shit. Like
and so your visibility's bad enough in the daytime.
So this is just me, Rack, and Manny.
Yeah.
Like, and trusting them to, like, I know how to snorkel. I know how to, but I'm not great at any of that. Like, I'm not super comfortable, just in those fucker guys they're ducks, they're pure Aquaman.
Yeah.
And they don't have the best equipment. I trusted them to have the flashlights and everything. So Rack's got a camera, he's got a flashlight. They give me my snorkel gear. They gave me a wetsuit. We go start swimming in the swamp at night, and I'm telling you, you couldn't see your fucking hand in front of your face. Pitch black. I mean, there's no moon, nothing. And we get in the water. And then Manny starts fucking swimming away. And I'm swimming with this fucking flashlight. You can only see whatever the beam of light. It's like holding a lightsaber underwater, right? Yeah. And every now and then you pass over a big garfish or a turtle or something, and you're like, holy shit. And then I'm thinking, I've got this little red snorkel tip, and I keep flipping back thinking, I'm getting tracked. They think I'm a duck. They think my head's a fucking duck, and I'm going to get bit in the head by an alligator. And so I keep flipping back, and also you're hitting branches, and I'm like, oh, there's snakes sleeping on top of that branch. I'm just fucking scared to death. Yeah. And luckily, and Mark and Manny go off trying to bring alligators to. They think, I need to see an alligator now. And so they swim up ahead. So I'm just by myself with this light while they're charging. And of course, Manny comes back with a 10-foot alligator and fucking lets it go, right? Like it fights itself. Like you can, if you're gentle with them, you can bring it.
Right.
Like,
I mean, it's got like loose skin underneath its chin.
And they have no concept of what's going on. So they don't feel threatened, and Manny stays out of the eye line. But he lets this fucking big ass alligator go right next to me, and I'm floating, and it swam and hits both my legs swimming away, and I'm like, did I get bit? I don't know what happened. Like this big powerful animal just whacked me in the leg getting away from us, and I'm like, and then my light goes out. And
I feel like you're describing the Silence of the Lambs.
I'm telling you, like it was, and I'm with Mark and Manny, who are just so brave, so gnarly, but like ill prepared. We were totally ill prepared to be in there, but we got some cool footage, like,
for sure. And that was a day off.
Yeah, that was vacation for me.
Did you count how many countries we went to on Wild Boys?
We went to I don't.
We went to every continent except Antarctica.
And we tried to go to Antarctica. It was really
expensive.
hard to do at that point.
It's a little one-dimensional too, I think.
It would have been cool. I think South Georgia Island would have been cool. You know, we totally looked into it, but it was.
He's got a way to get to.
Yeah, it was like for us, it was a ship we had to get on and go from the bottom of Argentina. And the problem is it was paying for the whole crew and everybody, like a week just to go for a few days and back, and really supervised by not what Wild Boys was looking for as far as the scientists and the you know what I mean? Very supervised, very hands-off approach to, which was great, but that's not what worked for us.
Right. I mean, dude, did you get extra pages added to your passport?
Yeah. Yeah, I had the fattest fucking passport.
Fattest fucking passport.
Yeah, still have it. It's the best.
I totally still have it. Yeah. Do you have 3 holes poked in it because
yeah,
it's not anymore?
I get it.
Yeah, me
punched.
too.
Yeah.
Oh man,
My new passports are so boring compared to that one.
Yeah. Oh, dude, have you ever told the story about New Orleans and getting hit in the head with a bike lock, like a D-shaped bike lock?
I don't know. I don't know if I
doesn't remember.
I remember. Oh no, I clearly remember. Yeah, like no, it was.
There were just some shady characters.
There was a guy like so we got at the hotel bar. We were in New Orleans.
Oh yeah, this is right after Hurricane
Fresh
Katrina.
after Katrina. Well, Katrina was August. We're there in February, right?
Right.
And so
but I mean, dude, it was
the French Quarter. We were staying right on the French Quarter. It was dead at night. Like there was only a few places open.
And because like there was like. It was so devastated by Katrina still that there was like more of a crime element than there had been previously, as I understand it. And because of that, we had armed security with us. Like we actually had security guards, like, you know, with us at night. And so this guy...
They weren't with me that night, but they were,
right.
We left them. And like at some point...
But the security guard was there.
Yeah, he was there when we first saw this guy. So we were at the hotel bar, and this guy's like... Hey,
so you're rich, buy me a drink.
Yeah, you're rich, buy me a drink. And we're like, fuck, that's
Knoxville says, I did. I got you a White Russian, but I might have cummed in it.
Oh, yeah.
And then
I don't remember that part. But...
Yeah, he did. I remember he said that word for it. I got you a White Russian, but I might have cummed in it. And I go up to this dude and fucking straight shove him across the lobby, like into the arms of the security guy.
Right.
Or, you know, like every time I ever had security, it just got me into trouble.
Yeah, make sure they're like, it's like whenever we bring an ambulance on set. Well, if we're paying for that ambulance, we're going to use that goddamn ambulance, man. I'm not.
Right. So I shoved this guy into the security. He grabs him and just leads him out of the hotel. But then that was like, oh, well, now we've made a thing with these guys. And
right.
So they fucking see you later on in the night.
Well, Bam flies in late that night, and so we get there, and it was, I don't know, it was late, like 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Just leaving the titty bar.
And the guy, we're at some bar, or like just random bar, and this guy starts shit with Bam, and Bam wasn't there earlier, so I'm like, oh shit, that's that fucking guy again, and we're just drinking, trying to calm it down. Like his buddy comes and tries to calm it, make it cool, and I appreciated that. And then I look, and fucking Bam and that dude are fighting outside. I'm like, oh shit! So I run out.
Fighting, like really fighting.
Like Bam's got his finger in his mouth. Bam's got the dude's finger in Bam's mouth, biting him, and so I'm like, oh fuck! So I run out, and as soon as I run out,
wait, Bam's biting the finger.
Bam's biting the guy who asked you to buy him a drink's finger.
Right. Okay.
It's all your fault.
And I run out to break up the fight, and right when I run out, I get hit over the head with like a kryptonite style bike lock.
Yeah.
And the guy behind me who was working on our crew got hit he got his ear whacked, and his back. He got hit twice. This guy was swinging this thing, and it was the guy who tried to make it cool. It was the buddy who swung the fucking bike lock, and I didn't even think I got hit. And it felt like someone was pouring coffee over my head. It felt like hot water and it was just blood just running down my fucking
absolute
face.
bloodbath.
Yeah.
So then you go to the hospital, you ask the doctor, can you do your own stitches?
Oh, I just wanted a cool scar. Like I was never hurt. It was so weird that I would push on it, and I was drunk, but I wasn't that way. Like I was aware.
Right.
I was like, fuck, why doesn't this hurt? This is weird. There's a gash, big old fucking gash that was gushing blood. But I talked to the doctor. I'm like, listen, I'm artistic, and I think I could do this. Can you just supervise me and let me do the stitches?
You're artistic, not autistic.
Not autistic. Artistic. I'm creative. Like I'm talented at shit. Like I can do it. Like, I think I could do my own stitches because it didn't hurt.
Yeah.
I can maybe shoot some Novocaine in there just to make sure, but like, and she was not having it. Not this. It took us forever to find a hospital. Like 3 of the hospitals were closed. Derek had to get out and come find me and get me to the hospital. And so it was Derek and Shauna and me. And I'm just like, all right, listen, you won't let me do it. I get it. You're telling me you think it's going to be 10 stitches.
But can you just
do it in 5. Do it in 5. I want something to show. Like, you can't even fucking see it. Like there's nothing there. She did such a nice job, and she had so little patience for
Do it in 5.
I'm like, I want a scar. Like, you don't get it. Like, do a shitty job. Just make it work. Like, I don't care. I don't want it to get infected, but like, do not make it nice.
Dude, what I'm loving about this conversation so much, like in the big picture of it all, is that it's really coming across that like, and he's not just Oscar nominated, right? He won an Oscar, right? Is he
Spike?
Academy? Yeah. Academy Award winning director Spike Jonze is actually this fucking gnarly dude, you know,
and the most like can be super sensitive. Like, like people think of him as this really sensitive, nice, and yet he's the one that will like whenever he comes on set, right? He makes you do shit you never thought you like. He pushes it way further, like,
and he is super empathic. Mm-hmm. He's super empathic, and then like here, you know, the director like on your day off, like, oh, I'm, you know, like it reminds me of like the old fucking Rogaine thing. I'm not just the hair club.
I want to be like, I showed up to work that next day, like
with the Karate Kid headband.
Call time was 7. I think I got there at 7:15, straight from the hospital to the
dude.
And we shot. That's when we shot Wee Man getting blown across the
airboats.
The airboat, and Dunn riding on top of the van where we tried to do the Teen Wolf, but he was on water skis, and then he landed in like ankle deep water. Like,
was oh man, it's just so rad. The legacy, man.
Yeah.
Like, did you see how in like the Knoxville had his article on GQ magazine, and they just talked to me for like quotes or whatever, right. And I said, dude, like when I found out Knoxville wanted to do a 4th Jackass movie after a 10-year hiatus, mm-hmm. I was like, no, dude, like we fucking not no, but my concern was that we had gotten away with so much. And we had this fantastic legacy, and then now all it would take would just be one fucking stupid accident, one fucking stupid thing, and like it would all be out the window. Right. You know, like be like, oh, all of these guys were just fucking dipshits, and now Knoxville's in a wheelchair, or fucking some just weird thing to just ruin everything. And it reminds me of when I asked you what would happen if the shark bit me when I had the fish hook through my face. I'm like, dude, we were hours away from the shore of hurricane-devastated Louisiana. Like, what would have happened if the shark bit me? And you said, I don't know, man. We got God. And then once again, dude, we made a 4th Jackass movie, and like so much to lose. You know, I'm like, dude, we've survived so much. We've like gotten away with so much. We've got this beautiful legacy, and we're gonna put it all on the line.
And like you were as shocked as I was. Like, so Knoxville, I went to lunch with him. This is before you found out, and he's like, "Hey, man, I think I want to." And this is the first time he's ever been the one to, like, it's usually me that goes to him and says, "Hey, I think."
Right.
You know, you're showing up on Wild Boys.
Right. Well, on Wild Boys,
you're showing up ready to die on Wild Boys. Why don't we make another movie and not, like, if you're going to take a bullet, like, let's do it on a movie screen, dude, not on a TV screen.
That was how Jackass, let's tell that story. The last trip we ever went on for Wild Boys, and I think it was understood that it would be the last trip or not.
No, well, no.
Okay, but it ended up being the last trip.
That was in Russia?
Yeah.
Our last trip was to Russia, and oh boy, was that a wild trip.
We brought Knoxville.
Yeah, we brought Knoxville, and it was a wild trip. So we had this one day of filming with, like, what was it, like the Russian?
What do you mean it was a wild trip?
Like the Russian Secret Service or anti-terrorist group?
We went to some special opsy. Who knows what the fuck they were? They were gnarly trained Russian assassins, basically.
Right. And they had a 9mm gun with rubber bullets in it.
Yeah.
They had a fucking attack dog. They had this fucking... And Knoxville says, shoot me with the fucking 9mm rubber bullet while the dog attacks me.
Well, they wanted to scare us. You know, they didn't get it. Like they thought that they set up like a little obstacle course where you were supposed to run around and run by the scary dog. It's some big ass mastiff type weird. Yeah, I've never seen that dog before. Like giant, dangerous dog that's on a chain. And Knox like, well, I want to get bit by the dog. I'm like.
Knox was like, don't just let the dog bite me. I want the dog to bite me, but shoot me while it's.
And they wanted to have a shootout with rubber bullets, but they weren't trying. They didn't think they were gonna fucking shoot. And I'm like. And then we get there, and Knoxville's just ready to die. Like, fuck, I want to get bit by the dog. I want to get shot by the fucking...
At the same time, I remember...
Yeah, and we've had some issues with the rubber bullets. Like,
yeah,
that's not necessary. They call it less lethal.
Lethal.
I'd never been around those rubber bullets, but they were shot out of a 9mm. So we did, you know, he's like, shoot me. I'm like, well, let's do some testing like we did with like back in the day.
So funny, less lethal.
Oh
they haven't removed the word lethal.
Do you know the story about the first time we ever shot, like, the beanbag?
I wasn't there.
You weren't there. Like and it didn't air because I made the guy test. Like we found some stunt guy that was willing to do it, and so
it didn't air.
Like this is not on the first movie. This is before them. This is for the TV show. Knoxville goes online and buys these little fucking beanbag bullets. So we if you don't mind, just it's non sequitur out of Russia.
No, great.
He went online and found. Beanbag bullets. So he buys
for a shotgun.
He buys 3 shells.
Like
that have the beanbag packed in the shell. Like, and we're trusting that this is like, yeah, cool. We found a stuntman that's willing to use a shotgun and shoot him with it. And so, we're gonna shoot this for a TV show. Cool. And then we get there, and I start to like. This is me for the first time, probably using good judgment. I'm like, all right, well, wait a minute. We don't know what these things do. Right. Like, I'm just trusting that this is a shotgun shell and it's going to shoot a fucking beanbag. So I'm like, all right, tell you what, we got a watermelon. We set a watermelon up.
Yeah.
Shoot the watermelon. Fucking blows right through the watermelon, right through the plywood behind it. Like,
wow.
Holy shit. Like, through, 3/4 inch plywood, the hole right through it. Like that beanbag did. I'm like, hold on. So then put 2 more sheets of plywood. Drew a target on the plywood, shoot that. First of all, it doesn't hit the target, it goes near the target, but blows right through 3 sheets of plywood. This little fucking beanbag. I'm like, you can't, I'm not going to.
Yeah.
We had 1 more shell.
Thank God.
We had, the 2 shells were practiced. Now we're down to the 1, and Knox was like, well, we're here, let's just do it. I'm like, are you fucking kidding? Like, did we see the same thing? I filmed it. There's a hole in 3 sheets of plywood and a watermelon that didn't even blow the watermelon up. It just went right through the watermelon and right through the plywood. There's like a little hole, like a fucking gun bullet, not a, you expect it to blow it.
Yeah.
Like the worst kind. Because these things fly like little Frisbees. These are the early days.
Right.
Beanbags. Like if you shot something with that, it's going to go right in them.
So what made it okay when it was time to do the movie? You didn't do it that day.
We didn't do it that day. We found a more legit company that shot a bigger projectile that had a tail. The tail made it a little more accurate. Still not accurate. Like, it's crazy that they fucking shoot these things at people. Like, it's crazy because they don't go where they're supposed to. I don't know if they've gotten better since, but when we did Jackass 1, we were able to do it. And but we had a professional. It had to go through a lot of safety measures, and we had plenty of them to do the testing and all that. So. But I called it off, and Knoxville was still willing to do it, and he was mad at me when we walked away without the footage. Like,
he's so gnarly.
Fucking, like, why are you willing to do that? Like, that's not, we don't need the footage that bad. Like, this is ridiculous.
He's so gnarly.
And then when we were in Russia, same thing. Like, just, well, we're here. Let's get the footage. I'm like, can we just run around and get scared by this shit and not get that footage today? Because I think this is gnarlier than...
Right.
And if
MTV2.
Right, MTV2. And so, like, right when we got home, I'm like, motherfucker.
If you still have this in
like, you clearly want to go do this shit. You came out for nothing to shoot with us in Russia. Let's do another one. And he was like, yeah, I'm ready. And so that was Jackass 2. I don't remember exactly what happened on Jackass 3, but it was the same amount of time had passed. It feels like the right amount.
What happened in Jackass 3 was that a lot of us had traded in certain vices, and and replace them with healthier things. Knoxville's just became addicted to nut shots.
Well, that was during Jackass 3.
Right.
That's when we're shooting.
Oh, what you're saying?
Where it was born out of. Like,
what it was born out of.
What motivated? I guess it was.
It was all you, I think, because
we had done the 24-hour takeover. You had just come out of sobriety,
I was getting shot with fucking oranges out of some fucking crazy high-power cannon with Matt Hoffman in Spain, and he said, Tremaine's trying to do a third Jackass movie. And I was like, really? He says, that's what he says, you know?
Oh, my God.
So I think that was all you.
Yeah.
And dude,
but then he pulls me aside and says, I'm ready to do it. I'm like, are you kidding? And then he pulls out a notebook with full of shit that he'd been just gathering for the last 10 years. I'm like, oh, shit.
So he's just such a different breed of dude. I guess we all are. When we were doing Wild Boys, and presumably like Jackass, and maybe even with the movies as well, like you've always got like in your director mind the idea that when you submit the edit of the episode that there's going to be some pushback on like the powers that be in putting it out, whether that's MTV's standards and practices, or if it's the MPAA, the Motion Picture Association. They're going to watch it and they're going to say, hey, you can't include this certain thing. And it actually started way back in Big Brother.
It's
called a red herring.
We call them red herrings. We learned early on that like to get what we want, we have to kind of go further. So it's for some reason it's a negotiation. Like it's not just black and white. You can't do this. You can't do that.
Right. It's subjective. And we're dealing with people. So we learned, let's just load it up with the gnarliest shit, over the top shit.
And Big Brother, we used to submit, crazy pictures that we knew weren't going, but they would see him and say, you can't do that. You can't do that.
Right.
And then the thing we wanted looked way less radical. And like, all right, well, can we keep that one? As long as you get rid of these three, you can keep that one. Got it.
Right. And it was always like part of our like production schedule, shooting, like, let's do this for a red herring.
God, we should not be. I mean, like, this is going to shoot me. I've talked about it before, but it really just shoots us in the foot when we expose. We do this. No, leave it. I'm just saying, like, it's.
I'll never. Like,
we had a huge one on the new movie. Was just like we loaded it, and they singled out all the shots that we knew weren't going, and left alone the ones I didn't even have to negotiate. It was like because we put in 6 minutes of just pure fucking filth, knowing that this less filthy filth would get through.
So and we've always had, like, in both Jackass and Wild Boys, we've had this love affair with mascot costumes. There was like the night monkeys, the pandas, like we did a lot of it. And when we were in Russia, even though I don't think it was an animal that was at all indigenous, no, it was pandas that were not indigenous to China.
Yeah, no, it was polar bears in Russia, which it made sense.
Okay,
like, so it was pandas in Japan, which didn't. That was Loomis's idea to do the pandas.
So with the polar bear suits in Russia, and always with these costumes, it was like a montage bit. It would be music driven and like cut together this montage, and so the note came back from the Standards and Practices Department when you submitted the Russia episode, and they said, please strike, meaning please remove the shot of the polar bears getting...
The Russian hookers?
No, like, we spent MTV's money, like, legitimately to pay for hookers.
Oh my God.
We cut holes in the polar bear costume to make for our wieners to come out.
Oh my.
We had these big, gigantic polar bear
Now,
heads.
to be clear, JP came out to direct that bit, and he was really good at like directing that kind of shit.
Polar bear blowjobs.
Do you find that you have like, it's hard to like when stories start coming out to just not top. Like we have so many fucking crazy stories. Dude. Like when you start digging into the Wild Boy,
the greatest photo ever taken.
The greatest. There's actually a few of the greatest photos ever taken. Like, and you're in, I think, 3 of them.
The greatest photo ever taken and deleted. I mean, dude, boy,
that was the greatest photo ever taken. By the way, that was so much funnier than the front flip over.
Right. We'll tell this story. Like we're in Indonesia, and I was heartbroken because I had lost what was at that time the love of my life, and
we were super sympathetic.
Yeah, I was heartbroken, and somehow I just ended up drunk, and I was just like, no, I'm trying to get over it, and here I meet this lady of the night at this bar in Indonesia, and I bring her back to my hotel room, and here I am, and I'm just having sex with this.
This is your first time with a hooker, correct?
My first time with a hooker was after Gumball Rally.
Oh, okay. So second time with a hooker?
In
my head, when I tell the story, it's your first time with a hooker.
I mean, it's the first time with a hooker in Indonesia.
Got it.
And I'm here, I'm having sex with this hooker, and all of a sudden,
let me take over because so Steve-O, like we're in this little shitty we're on some island, I don't even remember where
Borneo,
we were.
Or not Borneo,
Sulawesi or somewhere, and like shitty little hotel, and we know what Steve-O's up to, and we're all fucking wasted. So it's me, Pontius, Dimitri, I don't think Knoxville climbed in there. Cordell, we're all gathered around, and we sneak into your room. You're having sex in a pitch black room. You pitch black room.
I had no idea.
And we fucking stealthily pick your lock, or just, I don't think the room was locked. We open the door and we crawl in on this pitch black floor while you're just fucking away on the bed. And then we're all in the room. And then Dimitri stands up and hits a flash photo.
I thought the photo was taken from outside.
No, in the room. Right. Flash photo. And we're all thumbs upping. And you're fucking on the bed with your eyes glowing, like lividly mad. And we take, the flash goes off, and then and we bolt out of this room, and you are fucking livid. And we all run and try to hide, and you come tearing in, like, fucking. So I do this damage control, and I have to promise you that I'll delete the photo, and then you proceed to go back to your room and tear it apart, limb for limb.
Oh, dude, yeah, I destroyed this.
Went full Motley Crue in the room.
Retaliation for them.
I mean, I was just acting out. I was drunk. I was like, man, like, I was philosophically trying to get over this love of my life.
We were also coming off of like a really hard a gnarly. This was a very gnarly
29 straight shooting days.
Yeah, gnarly shooting schedule.
That was the day I got home. I got arrested on an airplane.
Right.
For what?
For chain smoking.
Oh, that was
Yeah. Dude, I gotta make a video for that.
Just
and that was the photo was deleted.
And so we go, and we are just dying laughing over this photo. I mean, this photo is, the flash went off perfectly. You're mid-pump, but you and her are looking at us, but with red eyes, like, so it looks demonic. And then Pontius is standing up, like, just thumbs upping. Like, it is the funniest fucking picture. And like I go and then I have to go then I go break the news. We had looked at the picture. Then you came in furious. I had to promise we'll delete the picture. And then I go to Dimitri and he's like, Jeff, don't make me delete this picture. Steve-O's going to want this picture. I'm like, no, man. He made me promise that I delete the picture.
At this
and he's
point
like,
in my life, I do want it. I know.
He was absolutely right. Like, and he's like,
he's right, dude.
Don't make me delete this picture. You're going to regret it. And I'm like, no, you have to delete it. And
Probably
he deleted that.
it.
I mean,
no, I watched him delete it. He didn't have time to.
What's that?
And
how much is the photo? We have the story.
We have the story, but that photo was so fucking. You would have loved that picture, man. Like,
yeah, I mean, if we were gonna say top 3 gnarliest things that happened on the road, I mean, it's a big bag to pull out.
Oh God, well.
But I mean,
we can talk about.
Yeah. That we can talk about. Dude, how about when we were on Shark Week and we got Poopies and his dad, me with my dad, we're having this.
Oh my God, that was so fun.
And the story's coming out in front of my dad and Poopy's dad.
And you were driving it, to be clear. But once you gave the green light to tell, like, we told some of the filthiest fucking stories.
Yeah.
And Yeah, I think Poopy Staff was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it was a night in Bombay, and Bombay, India, also known as Mumbai. We're at this bar, and I meet this this Canadian lady at the bar. Mm-hmm. She's like, yeah, come on back to my. I'm like, oh, it's on. Come on back to the.
To be clear, she was my friend's friend.
Oh, really?
That's why she was there.
Oh, damn. She was your friend's friend, and she was married.
And she was married.
And she was just a Canadian expat living in Bombay, India. So I'm like, all right, fuck, man. I come back to go back to her place. Where and I was with one other person from the crew.
Yeah.
It was me and another guy from the crew.
Right.
And so we're like kind of all getting down.
Yeah.
You know, like we're kind of all, and I wasn't even, so she's servicing this other guy from the crew and pretty high up in the crew, you know, and in this woman's bedroom. This woman's on her knees, this crew member's standing up. All of a sudden the bedroom door opens. And it's her husband.
Well, we don't know it's the husband at the time.
I mean, the guy's opening up the door to his own bedroom, and it is her husband. And
I say we don't know.
Right.
To be clear, it's not me.
Right. Yeah, it's not you. This crew member, the door opens. The crew member says, "Dude, get the fuck out of here." He's in his own bedroom. He said, "Get the and the guy says, "Hey, man, it's cool. I'll just watch." And then the crew member says, "No, dude, it's not fucking cool. Get the fuck out of here."
You were the only witness to that, and that
Right.
we quoted that forever.
Dude, it's not fucking cool.
And were you laughing?
Fuck out of here. I'm just like, I mean, I can't even remember. I mean, I don't know. I'm just like, I couldn't even believe it. And then the crew member, in a fit of frustration, she's just like, "Ah, fucking, I'm out of here," and he takes off. So then, like,
opportunity knocks for Steve Owen.
so I started getting in on it, and I'm totally cool with the guy watching. Like, it was very hard to find.
He came back in after the other guy left.
First, he got kicked out of his own bedroom, but then when Steve went,
Steve's like, "Hey, dude, it's cool. You can come in."
Yeah, I'm like, dude, it's cool. The guy, and it's very hard to get weed in India.
Yeah.
So this guy had weed. So his wife was servicing me while he's holding this pipe up to my lips and lighting it for me.
Jesus, dude.
And then he's like, "Hey, if you want to have sex with my wife, you know, like, I'll give you a condom." And I'm like, "Right on, dude." And so it was the first time I ever had sex.
What a bro.
With a married woman. There were certain lines I never crossed. Like, I never took anyone's virginity. I had, up to that point, never been a part of adultery. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he got you weed.
He got me high, and I boned his wife while he watched with the rubber that he gave me.
That's pretty gnarly.
Yeah, and then I got back to the
hopefully
room.
his rubber was better than yours.
Then I got back to the hotel room, and the sun's up. And I was sharing a room with JP. And JP will remember this forever. He goes, I walked in, I go, "JP, I've been to bad places and I've done bad things."
That's crazy.
Remember, we used to share rooms. Like, isn't that so crazy? Like back in the old Jackass days. I remember, like, first time we shot with you was in Florida.
Yep.
And first Trip had been rooming with you, and it was a little much for Trip, so he made little Nate end up staying with you. And that was when you hooked up with the Daytona Rat, and Nate was pretending to be asleep, but you were going to town, and then and used a condom, but then took that condom off and threw it over towards Nate. Dude,
I laid a used rubber on Scott Potasnik's face while he was asleep. Yeah, I mean, dude, we could be here all day.
Yeah, I had a question. Where do you draw the line at, like, getting mad for certain things? And, like, if Steve destroys a hotel room on the road, to
be clear, that hotel room ended up costing, I think,
$200.
$200 American.
Okay, but then when they destroy a van, you're on camera just ripping their shit.
That van was I wasn't there, by the way, when the van happened, because I was concussed from we smartly threw our rap party the night before our big opening sequence shoot, and so, like, I got lit up at the fucking rap party. And then remember that I got choked out by the bouncer and dropped on my head.
Oh, dude.
And so I was concussed and in no shape to be there, and you guys destroyed what turned out to be a Teamsters van, which is really bad.
Yeah.
It's cool to destroy a rental van, but
right.
Teamsters was a little tricky, but I never even got mad at it because I wasn't in any condition. They kept calling me, and I'm like, fuck, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I made. Did you see my video I made about the most expensive things I ever destroyed?
Yeah. No, but
I used all the van footage and the 3 cabins we burned down in South Africa. I used that footage.
Oh my god. Fucking the 3 cabins. That's the best story too.
It's the gnarliest.
Oh my god.
Is that one of the photos?
It's so funny because Trip tore you a new one. On
the van.
On the van. And
we you
didn't total the van. You just ripped the interior up.
We
messed
totally
it up. Yeah, that's true.
We completely demolished that van.
And then I remember I was we were
and this was on the way to go film the end of the Jackass
the opening sequence.
All of us as
the big shopping cart. Oh no, the old man. That's right. That's right. The closing sequence of Jackass.
Trip comes into this room to just fucking let us have it, and we're all already done up as old men. he's yelling at like 9
This shoot's
old
gonna
men.
get canceled like you 9 old men.
You fucking, you guys have done it this time.
Ed the medic.
Dude, Ed the medic, man. At some show, his son came up. I think he said, my dad was Ed the medic, dude, and you really enriched his life.
Oh, wow.
He's since passed, but his son was grateful.
R.I.P.
We could be here all day, man, but let's remind everybody that fingers crossed, and maybe fingers not crossed, whenever this fucking movie, if and when this
when you hear this, the movie's coming out soon, right?
I mean, we're gonna get this up.
Okay, well, hopefully,
we're gonna
hopefully it comes out February 4th, and there's no issue.
I mean, it remains to be seen. But I texted you, a week or 2 ago. I said, "Is this movie gonna really come out?" So you said, "I'd be shocked if it didn't come out on February 4th."
I would be shocked still, but it's grim right now.
It's gnarly. All I know is that we made a fucking unbelievable movie.
Yeah, I'm super proud of this, and proud of you for everyone just stepped up so big. It's so fun. So
it's a fantastic fucking movie, and I find myself I call you Pa in text letters. I say, thanks, Pa. You're like this pseudo father figure to me. Knoxville's kind of like an older brother, and you're like a dad figure, and your opinion. I hold my own dad. What
right.
you think and your approval, your praise, you Knoxville, Spike, there's
who's Spike, Mom? Kind of, right? Yeah.
Well, he's more like the rich granddad or something. The Getty figure.
But Spike's usually got the better sense,
for sure. But I just we've decades now, decades of just this unbelievable lightning in a bottle, man. There's no relationship.
We do need to at some point put a book together with all of us just to really. Yeah. If everyone would let those stories fly, because there's so many.
I've got a Knoxville story, dude.
We all have a Knoxville story. I've got JP stories. I've got Wee Man stories. I've got
JP,
I've got my own stories.
JP in Nairobi. But yeah, dude. Do you want us to drive anybody anywhere for? Oh, I asked one last question. I was dying to know this because Jackass has been so. Kind of few and far between. Right. It's been very sparse. 3 movies over 20 years. Mm-hmm. But that's big box office revenue. Mm-hmm. And then you've got Ridiculousness, which you created. Mm-hmm. And it's basic cable money for MTV, which is much less money. But it's been steady, just chugging along for over a decade. So in the big picture, what's been more personally profitable for you? Ridiculousness or Jackass?
They've both done me very well. But I've done a lot of stuff, to be honest. I've done a lot of commercials. I do a lot of
American Airlines.
I stay busy.
American Airlines, is that really your thing? Every time
you're on the plane. That's my thing. To me, that was the funniest one. I just wanted that so bad because I couldn't picture, why am I even up for this job? Who got, the ad agency had to pitch to American Airlines, hey, we think we have the perfect director for a safety video. The guy who did Jackass, that's who we should get.
Dude, you've definitely done a lot of
That's
stuff.
probably been the most seen thing I've ever done, to be honest.
I see it every week.
Think about it. It's been 6 years on every flight.
Okay.
For 6 years.
Possible.
And it came out when you used to have to watch. It's just on every screen, right? Like,
yeah. All right.
Like 400 flights a day per day.
More than 400 flights a day. American Airlines.
Yeah, how many?
It's the biggest airline in the world.
It's the biggest airline in the world. They're doing thousands of flights a day. Like,
yeah. Okay, I'll give you that.
Lots of thousands. In fact.
Billions.
Yeah, like
billions of people have seen it.
Yeah.
You got Motley Crue. The Dirt was a big one. Even like a Bad Trip was.
Bad Trip was a big one.
That's maybe the most viewed.
Yeah, it was a big one. That got a lot of eyeballs on it. Yeah, for sure.
That's the only thing you've made that you know for sure Obama watched. But you couldn't guess which one ridiculous.
Which one I made more money off of? I can't.
He knows. He just doesn't want to tell you.
I've done well with both of those. Those are. So.
All right. Well, then there we have it. I mean, we could do this every week.
We should do a part 2.
Whenever you want.
At one point we should. Dude, I love you, Pa.
I love you too, buddy.
Thanks, man.
Super proud of you. Super proud of this, man. Like,
dude, it's a hit podcast.
Just all of it. Just this though. It's just so awesome to watch you do it, man.
Well, thanks, man. You know, I know, like, absolutely what a douche I am when I'm always barraging you and Spike and Knoxville with texts to just, guys, look what I pulled off. Look what and I'm just trying to, like, just show off for you because I'm so, like, proud of, like, whatever my latest accomplishment is, and I barrage you with it. And I know it's annoying and I know it's douchey.
I don't get annoyed with it. I'm not a good text friend. Like, you clearly know I'm just shitty about response, but, like, I love it. And I love when I do watch them. Like, I always get something like, "Fucking, that was awesome."
I try to only send stuff if I think if I'm really proud of it, if I think it's impressive. And there's been a lot of stuff that I'm really proud of and I think is impressive lately. And it's fun to be on a roll. And
I love watching you. Just the same. You're just like me. No idle hands, man. Idle hands.
We're doers.
Yeah, fucking make shit happen. Like,
yeah,
I don't care what it is. I make shit. That's all I want to do.
Yeah, and I love it too, man. I love that you're always willing to check out my shit, give me feedback, and I love that there's not a whole lot of like, oh my god, this one, fucking, like I'm making good shit.
You're making
there.
great shit. Like, you figured it out. You found your voice, and you're fucking jamming.
Super stoked, man. Well, likewise, dude. I love you being a fucking boss, dude, and you always have been, and I'm hot on your heels. Thank you.
Fuck yeah. Right on. All right, very cool.
Awesome.
We had a piece so bad.
Yeah, dude. There are so many stories, dude.
So many fucking stories. We didn't even finish any. We just kept jumping.
Man, I really mean it that I could have just sat there and told stories with Jeff Tremaine forever. And maybe we'll do another podcast with him. But right now, I mean, shit. Is this movie coming out or what? Just yesterday, there was over 1 million COVID cases. And fuck. But here in Montana, where I did the show tonight in this theater, clearly they have no COVID. Paul, just go ahead and put the end of that show on here. I mean, it's a crazy time to be alive, man. And it's an exciting time, too. Thank you for sticking around. Street team. Yeah, dude.